A second look at a misconception on exercise and bones. Earlier this month, the science staff published a series of short articles called Misconceptions. The idea, to debunk some common misconceptions about health and science that many people accept as truth in their everyday lives. Most of the stories got a lot of reaction from readers, but the one I wrote, headlined "Exercise is not the path to strong bones," caused a small uproar in our inboxes. I wanted to try to clear up some misconceptions about this misconception. As a distance runner who has run 5 marathons, and someone who tries to work out almost every day, I would never want to leave the impression that people shouldn't exercise. But I also want to be honest about what can really be accomplished. As my article said, exercise certainly has some established benefits, but strengthening adult bones enough to prevent fractures is not one of them. I wish I had made it clearer that my focus was on weight-bearing exercise for adults only. The many readers who wrote in are correct that exercise can help build strong bones in children and adolescents whose bones are still growing and developing, although there is some uncertainty over how much and what sort of exercise is best. My intent was to address the many middle-aged or older readers who have read or heard or been told that all you have to do is walk regularly or do other modest weight-bearing exercise and your aging bones will be strengthened and your risk of fractures reduced. I should have been clearer about the difference between bone density and bone strength. Increasing bone density does not necessarily mean increasing bone strength. Bone density can be misleading. Fluoride, for example, increases density but does not prevent fractures. Calcium supplements increase density by 1 to 2%, but they do not prevent fractures. The reason for mentioning density at all is in the context of whether exercise has any noticeable effect on bone architecture. It turns out that if there is an effect, it is extremely small, and seeing it seems to require special scanners that look at microscopic bone architecture. The other point of the article is there are few large, rigorous studies on this topic. Many exercise studies had very few subjects who were studied for short periods of time, and that showed, at best, an effect on bone density that was extremely small, and that did not determine whether the exercise's effects on bone, if any, reduced fractures. But an analysis that combined data from 43 randomized controlled clinical trials with a total of 4,320 participants investigating exercise and fracture risk concluded that while exercise had a relatively small statistically significant effect on bone density, there was no effect on numbers of fractures.